There is a fundamental difference between improving yourself and transforming yourself. And the entire self-help industry has spent decades making sure you never clearly understood which one you were actually doing, because the answer to that question determines whether you keep buying what they're selling or whether you stop needing it entirely. Self-improvement operates on an assumption so foundational that almost nobody ever examines it. The assumption is that the self doing the improving is basically sound, that the foundation is solid and the project is simply renovation, adding better habits, removing worse ones, upgrading beliefs, optimizing behavior, sanding down the rough edges of a structure that is fundamentally worth keeping. This is the assumption underneath every productivity system, every morning routine, every become your best self framework ever created. And for a certain category of problem, it's a completely reasonable assumption. If the foundation is actually sound, renovation makes perfect sense. But here's the question nobody wants to sit with long enough to answer honestly. What if the foundation itself is the problem? What if the version of yourself you've been improving, optimizing, and upgrading for years was built on top of beliefs you never chose, fears you never examined, and an identity assembled in childhood out of other people's expectations and your own survival responses? What if the most disciplined, most optimized, most productive version of that self is still just a more efficient expression of a premise that was flawed from the beginning? This is the territory transformation actually lives in, and it is categorically different from improvement. Transformation doesn't renovate the existing structure. It questions whether the existing structure should be kept at all. It asks not, how do I become a better version of who I am, but is who I am actually who I am, or is it a construction I've been maintaining out of habit, fear, and the accumulated weight of other people's definitions of me? That is a genuinely destabilizing question, which is exactly why the self-help industry steers you away from it and toward the much more comfortable, much more monetizable project of making the existing version slightly more impressive. I want to give you a concrete image for this because the abstract version is easy to agree with and hard to actually feel. Imagine somebody who grew up in an environment where their worth was entirely conditional on their performance. They learned early that love, safety, and belonging were things you earned through achievement, and they built an entire identity around that equation. Now they're an adult, they're driven, disciplined, successful by most measures, perpetually exhausted, never quite satisfied no matter what they accomplish, always raising the bar the moment they clear the current one. They find self-help, they get better at performing, they optimize their performance, they become extraordinarily good at earning worth through achievement. They improve, they do not transform, because the premise underneath all the improvement, that worth must be earned through performance, never gets examined. It just gets more efficiently served. Now, before some of you start feeling like I just described your entire adult life in one paragraph, and if the shoe fits, don't just stand there looking at it. Let me be clear that this isn't an indictment. It's a diagnosis, and a diagnosis is only useful if it points towards something actionable rather than just leaving you feeling worse about a problem you now understand more clearly. The self-help industry loves to stop at the diagnosis, by the way, because a person who understands their problem clearly but still doesn't have the actual solution is a reliable returning customer. Here is the distinction that matters for where this goes next. Improvement asks, how do I perform this identity better? Transformation asks, is this the identity I would have chosen if I had actually been given a choice? Those are not the same question, and they do not lead to the same place. The first keeps you inside the existing architecture and makes you more skilled within it. The second puts you outside the architecture long enough to see it clearly for the first time, which is the prerequisite for any genuine change at the level that actually matters. You cannot see the walls of a room from inside the room. Transformation requires stepping outside long enough to realize the room had walls at all. So what does transformation actually require if improvement is just renovation and transformation is something fundamentally different? It requires, first and most importantly, the willingness to question the self that's doing the seeking rather than just the beliefs the self currently holds. This is harder than it sounds because the ego, the constructed identity that's been running the show, is also the instrument you're using to examine itself, which creates an obvious conflict of interest. It's like hiring the person accused of fraud to conduct the fraud investigation. The constructed self has a significant investment in being found innocent, in being found basically sound, in having the problem located somewhere other than at the foundational level where it actually lives. This is why genuine transformation almost always involves a period that feels like dissolution rather than progress, a phase where the old identity loses coherence before the new one has fully formed, and that phase is deeply uncomfortable in ways that improvement never is. Most people hit that discomfort and conclude something has gone wrong, when in reality something has gone right for the first time. The discomfort of genuine transformation and the discomfort of things falling apart are experientially similar, which is why so many people retreat from the edge of real change back into the familiar project of improving the existing self. At least improvement produces visible results. At least optimization generates a sense of forward motion. Dissolution just feels like loss until you're far enough through it to see what it was clearing space for. Second, transformation requires honesty about what the existing self was actually built to do, not what you wish it was built to do, not what sounds most spiritually evolved, but what it was actually constructed in response to. Most identities were built as survival strategies. The overachiever was built to earn love in an environment where love was conditional on performance. The peacekeeper was built to survive an environment where conflict was dangerous. The person who intellectualizes everything was built to stay safe from feelings that once felt overwhelming. These aren't character flaws. They were genuinely intelligent adaptations to real circumstances. The problem is that most people continue running survival strategies designed for a childhood environment long after they've left that environment entirely, because the strategy became identity, and identity doesn't update itself automatically just just because the circumstances change. Here's what I want landing clearly before we close this out, because it's the part that separates this conversation from the ones that just make you feel temporarily inspired and then change nothing. Transformation is not a destination you arrive at and then maintain. It is an ongoing practice of returning to the foundational question: is what I'm currently doing an expression of who I actually am, or is it an expression of who I was taught to be, who I learned to perform, who I became in order to survive circumstances that no longer exist? That question, asked honestly and regularly, is more disruptive to unconscious patterns than any self-improvement system ever designed, because it operates at the level of the premise rather than the level of the behavior. Change the premise and the behavior changes as a downstream consequence. Change only the behavior and the premise reasserts itself the moment the discipline slips, which it always eventually does. And I'll be straight with you about something, because I think it needs saying plainly. A lot of people in spiritual and conscious communities are running the same avoidance the self-help world runs, just with more sophisticated language. You're not improving your productivity. You're aligning with your highest timeline. You're not seeking approval. You're calling in your soul tribe. The language changed. The underlying pattern didn't. That's not transformation. That's rebranding. And at some point, the gap between what you're calling yourself and what you're actually doing becomes its own kind of spiritual dishonesty. I'm not saying this to be harsh. I'm saying it because the gap between the label and the reality is exactly where genuine transformation starts, not in the comfortable space where the label and the reality already agree. Some of that is going to hit, and some of you are going to sit with it feeling a little uncomfortable and a little seen. Good. That discomfort is data. Pay attention to what it's pointing at, because that right there is the beginning of the actual work, not the preparation for it, not the pre-work, the work itself. Stop renovating. Start questioning what the building was actually built for. That's where the real work is, and it's the work most people spend their entire lives successfully avoiding.